Hey guys, I'm Kay Erin Hay. Welcome to my channel Money Talk Hub. Imagine this, you're 55 years old, walking out of your office for the last time, ready to embrace freedom, travel, hobbies, maybe even that dream business you've been thinking about. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the kicker. What if the money you've been counting on, your Social Security, doesn't show up the way you expected? What if the rules change? Or reductions eat away at your monthly income just when you need it most? Today, we're diving deep into exactly what happens to your Social Security if you retire at 55, and why Trump's proposal could change the game entirely. We'll break it down, step by step, and I'll show you what you need to know to protect your income, make smart choices, and actually enjoy early retirement without financial stress. Because here's the truth. Retiring early isn't just about walking away from work. It's about making your money work for you. And if you get this wrong, your dream retirement could turn into a financial nightmare. But if you understand the rules, the proposals, and the strategies, you can retire on your terms and keep your income intact. When we start talking about retiring at 55, the very first thing we need to get crystal clear on is how Social Security actually works. Many people think of it as this guaranteed safety net, something you can just tap into whenever you feel ready to leave the workforce. But the truth is, Social Security was never really designed for early retirees. Full retirement age, when you can claim your full benefits, sits somewhere between 66 and 67, depending on the year you were born. Claiming benefits earlier than that doesn't just shift your timeline, it permanently reduces the monthly income you receive. And that reduction isn't minor. We're talking about a potentially significant cut that follows you for the rest of your life, which can completely change the financial picture you were counting on. Here's where most people get tripped ups. Social Security isn't a flat amount. It's calculated based on your lifetime earnings and specifically your highest 35 years of contributions. So if you retire at 55, there's a very real chance that you're cutting off future contributions, and those missing years directly impact the amount you'll receive. Even if you've been consistent in your payments, stopping early changes the math. Your benefits could be smaller than you imagined. And if you've planned your retirement around that expected number, the gap could force you to make uncomfortable adjustments later, either by spending less or by drawing down other investments faster than intended. Then there's inflation. Social Security benefits do get adjusted each year to keep up with cost of living increases, but starting with a smaller base amount means those annual adjustments, while helpful, may not fully offset the early reduction. That's why understanding the timing and mechanics is crucial. Too many people make the mistake of thinking, I can retire whenever I want. Social Security will just fill in the gaps. The reality is very different. The system is predictable in its calculations, but those calculations are designed around waiting until full retirement age. Another key point is that Social Security isn't meant to cover everything. It's a foundation, not a full financial plan. Most early retirees need to supplement it with personal savings, investments, or even part-time income streams. Thinking of Social Security as the main source of income at 55 is risky because the numbers just don't add up to maintain the lifestyle most people expect. Understanding this early gives you power. You can start planning now, maximize other income sources, and make informed decisions about timing. Finally, there's the psychological side. Retiring at 55 sounds amazing, but you have to be ready for the reality of living on reduced benefits. That means facing decisions about spending, saving, and sometimes delaying gratification to make your money stretch. It's not just about math. It's about mindset. Understanding the system, the permanent reductions, and the timing gives you clarity. It puts you in control rather than letting Social Security dictate your lifestyle in a way that could leave you stressed or financially vulnerable. Now let's dive into Trump's proposal and why it matters so much for anyone thinking about retiring at 55. Right now, the discussion around Social Security is centered on a few key changes, some of them subtle, some of them potentially huge. One major piece of the conversation is how benefits are calculated and who qualifies for certain tax breaks. The idea is to tweak the system so it's sustainable for the long term, but these tweaks could have very real consequences for early retirees. For instance, if the rules for early claiming become stricter or reductions are increased, someone retiring at 55 could see a noticeable drop in their monthly income compared to what they might have expected under the current system. Part of the proposal includes adjustments to the way full retirement age is calculated. While the details are still being debated, the general concept is that claiming Social Security too early may be even less attractive under this plan. Imagine you're already planning your budget based on current rules, thinking you'll get a certain monthly check, and then suddenly the formula changes. That reduction can be significant, affecting not just the short term, but the decades of retirement you're counting on. On the flip side, some proposals encourage delaying Social Security, which could benefit those who can afford to wait, creating a strategic choice. Take what you can now or hold out for higher benefits later. Another layer to consider is the potential tax implications. The proposal may adjust or phase out certain tax benefits for higher earners, if you're in that category. Retiring early could mean you pay more in taxes on your Social Security benefits than you initially anticipated. Many early retirees underestimate this piece of the puzzle because it doesn't feel immediate, but over years, it can erode your income more than you expect. And these rules are often complex. They might apply differently depending on your income bracket, the year you retire, or even when the law finally takes effect. It's also important to think about the uncertainty factor. Legislative changes rarely happen overnight, and proposals like this usually go through multiple revisions before they're finalized. But even the discussion alone can impact planning because financial markets react, and retirement strategies need to adapt. If you're 55 and counting on Social Security as part of your early retirement plan, these potential changes aren't just numbers on paper. They're decisions that could drastically alter your lifestyle. The takeaway here is that knowledge is power. Understanding the proposal, the timing, the reductions, and the tax implications puts you ahead. It allows you to make deliberate choices instead of reacting later when it might be too late to adjust. If you're considering retiring at 55, you need to factor in these possible changes right now, even if they haven't been finalized yet. Waiting to react can cost you thousands of dollars or more over the course of your retirement. Now let's get into the numbers, the part that really hits home for anyone thinking about retiring at 55's, the financial impact. This is where theory meets reality. Claiming Social Security early has a very tangible effect on your monthly income. And under proposals like Trump's, that impact could be even more pronounced. Right now, if you retire at 55, your benefits are already reduced compared to what you would receive at full retirement age. For many people, this reduction can range from 20 to 30%. That's not a small difference. It's hundreds of dollars every month, adding up to tens of thousands over a decade, and even more over the course of your retirement. The timing of your retirement becomes critical here. If you rely on Social Security as one of your main income streams, retiring early without a solid plan can put you in a tight spot. Many people underestimate how long they'll live and how inflation erodes purchasing power over time. A check that seems sufficient at 55 may feel much smaller 10 or 15 years down the road. Combine that with the fact that Social Security adjustments for cost of living increases are calculated on your reduced benefit, and suddenly what seemed like a comfortable early retirement starts looking risky. Early retirement doesn't just affect Social Security. It also affects your other savings. Take 41(k) IRAs and other retirement accounts as an example. If you start withdrawing funds before age 59T, You may face penalties and taxes on top of the usual income tax. This can drain your savings faster than you planned, creating a double whammy, and lower Social Security and reduced investment balances. Many early retirees don't fully account for this, thinking that their nest egg will be sufficient to bridge the gap. But when penalties, taxes, and inflation are factored in, the reality is often very different. Healthcare is another major consideration. At 55, you're not eligible for Medicare yet, which means private insurance is likely your only option. Private plans can be extremely expensive, and premiums can rise significantly over time. Many retirees are shocked at just how much of their early retirement budget goes toward health coverage. So, when you combine smaller Social Security checks, early withdrawal penalties, and high healthcare costs, it paints a sobering picture. Retiring at 55 can be financially risky if you haven't planned meticulously. But here's the key: knowing this allows you to make smarter decisions. You can project the reductions, plan supplemental income sources, adjust your lifestyle expectations, and create a strategy that keeps you on track. Early retirement is absolutely possible, but it requires more than just the desire to stop working. It demands planning, discipline, and a clear understanding of how Social Security, investments, and expenses interact. Once you grasp these dynamics, you can retire at 55 without fear, armed with knowledge, prepared for potential reductions, and confident that your income will last as long as you need it to. So now that we've talked about the system, the proposals, and the financial impact, the most important question becomes, what can you do about it? Strategic planning is absolutely critical if you want to retire at 55 and keep your income intact. The first step is understanding that timing matters more than most people realize. Delaying your Social Security claim, even by a few years, can dramatically increase your monthly income due to delayed retirement credits. Those extra dollars add up over time, and in the context of proposals like Trump's, delaying could be the difference between a comfortable retirement and constant financial stress. Next, focus on maximizing your other retirement accounts. Your 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, and other investment vehicles aren't just side accounts. They are your primary safety net if you're retiring early. Contribute as much as possible while you're still working. Diversify your portfolio to balance growth with risk, and make sure you have a mix of short-term and long-term assets. This way, you won't be forced to draw heavily on one source and trigger penalties or taxes that erode your savings. Every dollar you save strategically now can translate into hundreds or even thousands of dollars in protected income during retirement. Expense planning is another critical piece. Too many people underestimate how much they'll need to maintain their lifestyle once they stop working. Mapping out your monthly costs, accounting for inflation, healthcare, housing, and discretionary spending gives you a realistic picture of your needs. Once you know what you need, you can create a plan to meet it. Maybe it means living slightly below your current income for a few more years, or maybe it means building passive income streams to bridge the gap. Either way, having a detailed roadmap puts you in control rather than leaving your finances up to chance. Education and staying informed are just as important as saving. Social Security rules and legislative proposals can and do change. Early retirees are especially vulnerable to these shifts, so keeping a close eye on policy changes allows you to adapt your strategy before it's too late. Consult with financial advisors who specialize in early retirement planning. They can help you model scenarios, calculate reductions, and optimize your withdrawals to minimize penalties and maximize benefits. Finally, consider multiple income streams. Social Security is one piece of your retirement puzzle, but it shouldn't be the only piece. Investments, part-time work, rental income, and other passive streams can make a huge difference in covering your expenses. The goal is not just to survive retirement at 55, but to thrive, to have the freedom and flexibility to enjoy this phase of life without constantly worrying about money. As strategic planning, informed decision making, and disciplined saving give you that freedom. In short, retiring at 55 is entirely possible, but it requires preparation, awareness, and smart execution. By understanding Social Security, factoring in potential legislative changes, projecting your finances accurately, and creating multiple streams of income, you can protect yourself from risk and ensure that early retirement is not just a dream, but a reality you can confidently step into.